Attention on deck. You're about to take command. Welcome to the bunker.
Welcome everybody back to the bunker. Yes, you heard that right. Did you miss us? We're back. Well, nearly all of us are back. Mr. Scouse is taking a well-deserved break after he's been jet-setting around the world with a certain celebrity that is also joining us today. Joining myself and Mr. Jesse Martin. First up, we have royalty in the house. We have a man who literally stood on stage and done a pick for our Washington Commanders. One of my good friends, Mr. Scotty Hartley. Scotty, how are you, brother?
Yeah, all good, Andy and Jesse. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, good. Jet lag's really kicked in today. I kind of kept myself busy when I got back, and then did a bit of gardening and other bits and bobs. And I thought I'll power through, and the adrenaline wore off, and I think I was asleep in my soup at work today. So yeah, it's properly kicked in.
I think you just used adrenaline and gardening in the same sentence, Jesse.
I was going to ask Hartley when his knighting ceremony was going to be.
Yeah, I believe I'm delivering in London tomorrow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop into Buckingham Palace and just say, "Hey, Hartley sent
Jug
me."
is.
Yeah, oh, Jug is. I'm really good friends with Scott Hartley. But as you can see as well, joining us is my fellow co-host Jesse Martin. Good to be back, brother.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a while. Got to get back in action and dust the podcasting cobwebs off because there's stuff going on in the Washington Commanders world, and we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah, we have got a lot going on, boys. We're going home as well to our stadium, which we're going to get into. But we've got to start with the draft, boys. And Scotty, got to start with you first, brother. First of all, briefly tell us about the experience that you had over in the States in Green Bay. For those of you who don't know, if you were living under a rock or you've been on Mars, wherever you've been, Scott Hartley was the international fan of the year. And I think I speak for everyone over here when I say we couldn't be prouder of Mr. Hartley going over to the States and representing us, Commanders fan. Lived vicariously through you guys at the weekend, just refreshing my Twitter like a motherfucker, thinking I need to see. And the only thing that we didn't get to see, Hartley, good old Sky Sports, the moment we'd all been waiting for. I'm thinking one of my best friends is going to be on telly in a minute. We're going to see him announce a pick. No, not a chance in hell. I had to rely on Scouse filming it. You know what I mean? You go all that way. But Hartley, just talk us through the weekend, bro.
Yeah, it was great. Met all the other 32 fans, 31 fans, sorry, representing the other teams. We had like a pretty stacked weekend, to be honest. Lots and lots of walking, which was okay. It wasn't too bad. Green Bay's quite a small town. It's like the size of Barrow, where I live. It's about 100,000 people. So tiny in that respect. 600,000 people at the draft over the weekend, which was just incredible. Yeah, met all the other international fans. Met Roger Goodell for a Q&A. I was quite annoyed
yeah. What happened there? Did you
quite annoyed with a lot of the questions that were asked, like what kind of sausages do you like, and are the Detroit Lions going to Berlin next year? And I'm like, he's not going to tell you that. I
what
want to know
question
about.
did you ask?
I want to. No, I didn't get a chance. I was like, I want to know about like expanded seasons, about how international games going, all that sort of stuff. Will you cut a preseason game? Will we have additional bye weeks? None of that was mentioned. There was a good question, to be fair, by one of the fans of the year for the Lions. Not the international or the actual proper fan of the year. He's a British guy anyway. I think he's a Millwall fan. He was talking about the expanded tickets and how the tickets from the international teams have gone now. So if you're a season ticket holder, basically, you're back on the bottom of the pile. So that went through, and he did say, "I'll get someone to look into that." But
no, yeah, that's been swept under the carpet.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was interesting though, I think, was when we were all doing our picks, there's only one of the five UK people who were representing UK teams got on without being interrupted by adverts or
it was a nightmare,
people talking. Bro. And I now realise why. It's because they seem to think they've cracked the UK market now. And obviously Australia's coming up, Ireland's coming up. So all of the Aussies were live. The Irish lad was live. And
Just
it's
you.
like, okay, I know where you're going now. So all
Yeah.
of the UK lot, there was five of us, all representing different teams. Only one got on out of the five of us. So it just shows you that they must think, well, we've kind of got that market cornered now, and
Yeah.
all the other markets that they're pushing it out. It's a business, you know. I understand that completely. A lot of enforced fun that you had to do. It's like, yeah, you've got to keep going, and you get sick of it by day three. The cameraman's like, panning, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep being fun.
Yeah, you got
And
to
you're
pretend to
like,
be
mate,
like having a good
nah.
time and shouting and
Yeah, and
hollering
it's
and
just like
yeah,
I just want to sit down. I've been here for 3 days now. I've had enough.
yeah. No,
But
and you and
no,
Scouse as well. When you mentioned the walking, Jesse, you know what Scouse was like when we went around DC. Oh my god.
Oh Lord, yeah.
so a lot of
Luckily, it
walking, mate.
wasn't 98 degrees outside
I
like when we
mean,
were there.
genuinely, I did like 30,000 steps on the Thursday, which is just
Wow.
crazy. It was
Jesus
a
Christ,
lot
mate.
of walking, and the way that they planned it out, it's no one's fault, but it was like, right, you've got to be at the stadium for 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay,
Oh,
and then so you're at the stadium at 9, and then it's like, right, the next thing's not till 2:30. And it's like, well,
oh,
what do I do in the middle, And
yeah.
it's like,
Why
well,
do I need to be here?
you can do whatever you want. And it's like, okay, so our first thing's done by like 9:30, and then you're like, well,
Yeah, got
okay,
6 hours to kill.
yeah, and Ubers couldn't get close because obviously,
So many
it was
people.
busy. So you're like, right, okay, there's not a lot I can do here. But yeah, it was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I got to have a backstage tour. Saw a lot of the where the players were sitting, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
On the day one, when we picked obviously our first pick, got called up a couple of picks before. Got to go into where they hand the jersey over
Yeah,
and they do
yeah.
all the pressing of the jersey.
Yep.
So they did the pressing of the jersey, which was pretty cool. And then they were like, "Look, if we pick someone who is on site, you'll go out, you'll hand that to the commissioner, then he'll hand that to the prospect. You'll shake hands with a prospect, and then that'll be you off stage." And I was like, "Okay, nice." And obviously, we didn't pick someone who was in
Yeah, it
because it
was.
was like I look back and I was like, "Well, there's a quarterback there. We're not taking him, and then there's possibly a
Yeah.
corner, and that's about
Scotty
it."
started shitting himself, thinking, "Oh my god, we're not going to draft one of these, are we?"
But what was really cool about that, and it's probably the coolest thing of the night, is the pantomime that goes on at the draft. We all know it happens. It was the same with Jaden last year when we picked. You got 15 minutes, and they pretty much used that entire 15 minutes. Now,
Yeah.
at 7 minutes were left on the clock when the guy in his earpiece said, "I get a 4 second delay from the time the team puts the phone down to the time I know who the pick is."
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay. So he told me, and we had bang on 7 minutes, and he said, "Just watch the clock." And I'm okay. He said, "They won't stop this till about a minute and a half." And sure as shit, it was like 1 minute 29 left. And then
Wow.
they went, the pick is in. And then obviously it took another 4 minutes for the Roger Goodell to come out onto stage. So he said to me, "Look, you might be sat here and you might not be with your mates, but he said, right now, he said, for the last 10 minutes, you've been the only person in the world who knew who we've picked."
You could have been an absolute shithouse and just sent a tweet out.
I could no phones. Yeah, they literally make sure no phones. You're not
Oh,
allowed it
right.
at all.
Do you know what,
So
Scotty? I'm so glad you got to experience that, mate. Obviously, like from the moment it was
crazy.
announced that you were International Fan of the Year, I know the work that you put on since the 1 Point Safety Show, with all the work you've done and the friends you've made when you are out in the States. So from all of us, mate, that you represented, we're so proud of you, mate. Well done, buddy.
Thank you. Really appreciate that, honestly.
No problem, no problem. Let's talk some draft then, lads, because I know Jesse, I know you've got some very strong views on this, mate. It's going to be
Strong might
interesting.
be a
Okay,
little strong of a word,
we'll
so
say
to speak.
opinionated. Jesse, what did you make of the draft? Obviously, in round one, taking Josh Connolly, offensive tackle from Oregon. I was quite happy with the pick. Scotty, I know we were talking backwards and forwards while you were out there. We were quite happy with the pick. Jesse pops up in the group chat. Not so happy maybe with the strategy that Washington used. I'll give you the
Yeah,
floor, Jesse, to explain.
this whole draft class. Listen, I like every single player that we picked. I had zero problems with the players themselves. I just yeah, kind of going against grain, like sometimes that I do, on the necessary strategy of what when and where we pick these players. Um, you know, Going back to last season, we spent a lot of assets on two different positions, both the offensive line and the cornerback room. yes, we need to bolster the offensive line, and that's where Laramie Tunsil comes in. Bringing Laramie Tunsil in ultimately shifts everybody and makes our offensive line that much stronger. Did we have a bad offensive line last year? No. Was it very good? No. But bringing Tunsil in, makes it a lot stronger. And not only do we give draft picks away for Tunsil for this year, but also next year as well. And then go back even further and giving up multiple draft picks for Marshawn Lattimore. Was he needed? Absolutely. Listen, we've been screaming about cornerback play for a very, very long time. But if you look at it as a whole, we gave it 8 picks for essentially 2 positions where we do have needs. Even though we went 12-4 last year, we have needs all over the field. I think the biggest glaring need coming into this draft was defensive end at pass rusher. We did some work on some defensive end during the offseason by getting the likes of Martin and Dietrich Wise. That doesn't really help you out in the pass rushing aspect of it. You can be the best cornerbacks in the league, and if your quarterback has 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw, they're going to find an open man 100% of the time. So I thought the strategy, because a lot of people talked about it, this draft class was full of defensive ends. A lot of defensive ends in this draft, not only early but also going into the second round. So being that we only had 5 picks because we gave up so many picks for Laramie Tunsil, because we gave up so many picks for Marshawn Lattimore, both offensive line and cornerback, the strategy of going offensive line, cornerback back to back with the opportunity of moving back. I mean, Adam Peters called it in his press conference. They had multiple opportunities to move back and get more draft capital because we only had 5 picks. Not only to be able to get one of these pass rushers, but we could still have gotten Trey Amos by keeping our pick 61 and had some extra picks along the way to try to, help out in other areas. And that's the question that I have. It's not about the player whatsoever. I thought we did enough this offseason by bolstering and helping Jaden out, not only with going to get Deebo Samuel, giving him another weapon, but getting that Laramie Tunsil, to bolster that offensive line. And it seems like we're trying to fix like just 2 positions right now, when I think there's other positions that need to be fixed as well.
Okay, no, I get it. I mean, look, I like how many times last season especially now we've got Jaden. It's like, let's protect this guy some more, and we went out and done that with our first pick. I mean, I liked it. I mean, Scotty, what was the reaction when you were out there to the first round pick? I bet you were well glad we didn't get back to the drop out of the first round, because you would have been fucking fuming. But
well, I didn't see it, to be honest, because obviously I was backstage, so I had no idea. But initially, I was like, when it came through and it came through my ear, my initial thoughts were okay, as in like I can understand why.
But you guys have been saying for ages, like you mentioned them when you were out there on the 1 Point Safety show, and you were like, look, it might be a case of whatever falls to us, because we're not used, let's be honest, we're not used to drafting this low down.
And the thing as well is, you've got to think is, do you think this is maybe a potential pivot because teams have got better? And what I mean by that is, if you're drafting an Abdul Carter, who's meant to be just generational pass rush talent, who's the only player who bodied him throughout college last year, it was Josh Conley Jr. Now, I get he's not playing left tackle. I completely understand that. But if you've got bookend tackles potentially on both ends, you're absolutely shoring up what you've got. And the way that Philly got to us twice last year, potentially actually 3 times last year, we weren't very good defensively at setting the edge and at having anything to stack up against their run defense. So, or their pass rush. So that's the problem. And if you can keep him healthy and you protect the merchandise, that was good to see. I do completely understand, Jesse, where you're coming from, but it takes 2 to tango. And to be honest with you, as we've said before, there wasn't much difference when you go from pick, say, 6 to 60 or, 7 down to 70. There wasn't a huge amount of glaring differences. No real absolute
big standouts. Yeah,
no, apart from the first probably 2 or 3.
That's exactly what I mean,
But no one wanted to trade
by moving back. And
but the thing is, like, like Scotty, I was about to say, if no one wants to trade, what do you do?
I do know
what we're saying
two trades
is
happened.
multiple teams wanted to trade. You had opportunity, and what people are saying that I'm not sure where they're getting this at is they think that Connolly Jr. is this all-star type tackle. If he was that good, he would have gone in the top 10. You know, that's what good tackles go early in the draft. He's got some work to do. He's not very strong. He doesn't have a lot of play strength, and I'm not convinced that he's going to play at right tackle. I don't even think the coaching staff knows where they're going to play him yet. He could very well move into guard. My only point is I thought we had the opportunity to better our defense, that was our weak link last year, was our defense, and we did not do that at all.
Let's move into the second round. Trey Amos, cornerback, Scotty. I really like this pick. How many times did we talk about? I'm glad Scout's saying here because he'd be having a feel amount of things, especially in our group chat, where it's one of the positions that we really, really wanted us to address. Obviously, Scotty, you know a lot, and Jesse as well. You know a lot more about the college game than me, but obviously looked a little bit into Trey Amos since the draft. Looks like we got ourselves a really good player here, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. First round talent. With that, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have been disappointed if we took him at 29. Genuinely. And I don't think anyone else would have said differently to find a corner.
Surprised he was still on the board when he was?
Absolutely. And it was because of the run of offensive tackles and the run of defensive talent, as Jesse pointed out. A lot of your edge rushers had gone at that point, and a lot of your high end talent on a couple of wide receivers had gone, running backs had gone, and it was like, right, okay, where are we going here? And then he pops up Trey Amos. I was like, wow, okay, this is brilliant. I mean, and what he does do for you is it gives you that other outside corner. It gives you the ability to be flexible with the back end and move Mike Sainristil back inside. And then at the same time, you've now got great depth in that room. I mean, we went in last year with Mike Davis and Benjamin St-Juste. You know, now you're looking at, you've got Jones, who potentially might not even start, who's come across from the Patriots, and you've got Noah Eye as well, who's coming in as a backup. So I mean, realistically, I think your starting three there will be Sainristil in the middle, and then you two outsides are Lattimore and the draft pick.
Because when you do look at I've been missing football a lot recently, so when you go back and look at a lot of the scores against us, corner was highlighted so much, and that's why I'm saying I'm glad. In a way, it's probably good Scouse, isn't it? Because the amount of times our group chat used to blow up with Scouse saying corner, sing ghost, and it needed to be addressed. And I'm just glad that they addressed it. Jesse, what did you make of the pick, my man? Obviously, I thought it was a really good pick.
I absolutely love the pick, and I'm with Scott. I would have liked this pick at 29 over Connolly, to be honest with you. I would have been much more happy with that pick. And that's not to take anything away from Connolly Jr. I think he's going to be a very good player for us. Going back to the first round pick, another good thing about Connolly Jr. is he's only 21 years old. He is a young player that has years and years to be able to grow with Jaden. But moving back to we needed an outside corner. We absolutely, as good as Sainristil played with us last year, he was playing out of position, and we needed to move him back inside. And now you hope that Lattimore stays healthy. And now, even if Lattimore doesn't stay healthy, we have options. I mean, I think Noah I played decently with us last year, and going to pick up Jonathan Jones, I thought was an AA plus free agent pickup right there because it was needed. But still. Again, it doesn't matter who your cornerbacks are. If you can't get to the passer, it's going to be problems.
Yeah, no, I get it. One other of the other draft picks, Scotty, Kane Medrano. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Kane Medrano. Yeah.
Medrano. What did you make? I was reading a few things on social media today. Kind of split opinion. This one.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of people like poo-pooing it, and I'm like, when you look at, obviously, again, you guys know more about the college game than me. Was a pick that you were pleased with, or is it going to be one of them? It's going to be like we'll wait and see.
He is a wait and see prospect. Yeah. I mean, he's the guy I announced. And looking at him, you're right, Jesse. I'll come back. We were talking about this on Bleeding Burgundy yesterday. I've been back and look at his tape. He does miss tackles, absolutely. But the problem when he's trying to miss tackles is he's over projecting himself. He's trying too hard to make tackles and wrap people up, and he doesn't always get his head in the right spot, which is a problem. He has got absolutely blistering speed, the fastest linebacker out of the entire combine. Could he be a safety or a bit of a tweener, a hybrid stroke line safety linebacker? I'm not sure where he's going to play or what he's going to do with that because he's got the positional sense to do that.
I thought you
The
were going to
good-
say position flex then.
Yeah, the good thing I was going to. The good thing with him is he's known to the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Ken Norton Jr. was his coach at UCLA, so he knows what he's getting in him, and he's going to be a core special teamer to start off with. And how he develops, I'm not so sure.
Jesse, with these kind of picks, is it a literally wait and see and hope he can be developed by our great coaching staff now? Because we've been there with draft picks in the past, and some have worked, and some it's the draft. I mean, Scotty, how many times have we said it? Don't put. I know the hope, like you just mentioned at the start of the show, the hoorah around the draft. That's all good. Don't put too much stock into it until these players get a chance to develop in the NFL. How many times have you and I said, Scotty, and you, Jesse, the step up from the college game to the NFL is like stepping from the championship to the Champions League. It's kind of that big. But Jesse, what did you make of the pick?
Yeah, well, and when you're getting to the 5th, 6th, 7th round, it's you make the pick and hope it sticks, and it's all about the development of the player. And for a kid like Medrano, he probably came into the best position that he could have come into. With the likes of Ken Norton Jr. Coaching him, but then you have a Bobby Wagner. And a Frankie Louvu to mentor him, as the players and to learn from.
Frankie Louvu, my God,
I don't have a whole bunch of hopes for this guy, but he's got some blazing speed and he's got some talent. He is kind of a tweener. He's not going to be the best in the box type of linebacker unless he bulks up, but he's probably not. Even though he's fast, he's probably not that type of safety type of fast. So you're going to have to, be you're gonna have to figure out where to put him. But like Scott said, he's going to be on special teams, and that's where he's going to make his mark if he does it all.
Jesse, you know who we can blame if he's terrible?
Blame Scott, of course.
That motherfucker right there, Mr. Hartley. all on you,
Scott's
bro.
fault.
Did we miss Jalen Lane there as well?
That will get into him now. I haven't completely forgot how to podcast.
Sorry.
I'm Jesse, this
Bro's
guy now.
just going out of order.
Jesse, this guy now, yeah, this guy now. Look at him. He spends like a week with all the celebs, and all right, Scott. Sorry, mate. Do you want to? Hang on. How do I switch this? Host, let Scott Hartley host. Anyway, well, let's go to another one. Yeah, Jalen Lane, really good. I watched a lot of his stuff today. Really good on special teams. A lot of people saying today one of the best punt returners that they've ever seen, like punt return at the level he played at, obviously out and wide receiver as well. Scotty, really like this pick. What I liked, again, I watched a lot of his stuff today. Something that we definitely need, in that core group. But what did you make of that pick?
Yeah, good pick. Desperate in need for. Was it the right pick? I'm not sure. Jalen Royal was on the board.
A lot of people were saying that online. We should have. But again, this is what you read on.
I don't know, but punt return, we needed a punt returner. Absolutely.
Apparently, he was on. I don't know if you've had. I know you've been in and out today, but NFL Network were really bigging him up with saying, "Look, one of the best punt returners they've seen play football." And I'm like, "Well."
I think I'll put this over to Jesse because he's a Virginia Tech fan, so he'll know more than I do on Jalen Lane.
Yeah, I'd pick Jalen Lane over Royal.
Okay,
that's the problem, and what people are probably seeing with Jalen Lane is he had really shit quarterback play. So it's really hard to judge. But to Cliff Kingsbury is probably salivating out of the mouth with what they can do with a kid like this. He's quick. You expect to see some of the stuff that Dyami Brown did last year off the line of scrimmage, doing some screens, and he'll take it to the house. He'll take the top off the defense. That's for damn sure. Kingsbury's going to find him ways to get the ball. It might not be like in the beginning of the season, but I would expect, at least halfway through the season, you'll see some plays for him on offense. And then I think he's going to be your primary punt returner. Definitely.
Boys, what do you think is, again, I was listening to, I think it might have been Gordy or someone's podcast I was listening to this morning, yesterday. The average expected time for your draft picks to be not NFL ready, because that's probably the wrong word, because it can take a season, really. We've seen it countless times in Washington. For you, Scotty, though, what is what's the word, accepted time that you think, right, from your draft pick, when we're getting to like, I don't know, November, December, you're like, I wouldn't mind seeing something now. Because if you're still making them kind of rookie mistakes, and everyone will say, oh, this is rookie year, etc., etc. But they were saying, I'm sure it was Gordy or someone I was listening to, they were talking about it as in like, well, for this draft class, what is the accepted time for the ones that you think need developing to like be developed in the NFL, if that makes sense?
I think 2 years, and you've got to be
Mm,
realistic with that. I think honestly, 2 years is if you're a lower end draft pick, if you're fifth, sixth, seventh round,
yeah.
that's kind of where you need to be. You need the time to develop. There's clearly talent there, otherwise you wouldn't have been scouted, you wouldn't have been picked. And then you think to yourself, okay, there is talent. There's something we can work with. It's a rough diamond. Let's shine it up and make it into a superstar. It does happen, and it can happen very easily. It's just all about the coaching staff. Some haven't got the size, some haven't got the necessary technique, pad level, that sort of thing. If you're a first round pick or a second round pick, I kind of want to see production straight away from you.
Yeah, come week one, you expect, your first round is it's kind of expected, but then look at fucking Chase Young.
Well, look at all of our first round picks
Yeah,
that were under the Ron Rivera era. None of them are
yeah,
still here.
no,
So
mm. Yeah, no, you make a good point. Ja'Cory Merritt, Jesse, talk to me.
Yeah, this is probably
The
with
one
him
pick
as my
that
favorite.
everyone was raving about the most, I'd
Yeah, my
say.
favorite pick in the
yeah.
draft. I love this dude. I think he's going to push very early for playing time. The NCAA assholes really screwed this guy over when he was in New Mexico. College, and I spoke on this on the Bleeding Birdie last night, but college players have about 120 players, or college teams have 120 players on their teams. So you can't have triple digit numbers. So some people are going to have the same number, and the NCAA, um, uh, there was another player with his number, so they got it wrong as far as of his eligibility. So he was only able to play one game for Arizona. And then NCAA caught on to this and say, "Hey, you had more games than you said you had back in New Mexico. Yeah, you're going to have to stop playing until we figure this out." Well, they never figured it out. Did not put two and two together, even after time and time again of the Arizona telling him, "Hey, that was a different player." So he got really screwed over and lost a whole year. Lucky for us, that's a year less of wear and tear on his body.
Mm,
Because I think this guy is going to be good. He is a quick, twitchy type of one cut runner. He sees the holes very well and shoots. He's probably what we all want Brian Robinson to be. He's going to be, because he's big. He likes to lay the lumber a little bit too much. Some of the analysis out there on him, as far as him he seeks contact and he likes to punish, but he does it a little bit too much. People want him, coaches want him to save his body a little bit more instead of taking all that, the brunt of the hits. But I think this guy is going to be really good.
mm.
Yeah,
Go on. So go on, Scott, mate.
funnily on that as well. What you've got to think there is how he is developed, and if he would have had that year of eligibility, would he have been a third round pick probably,
Yeah.
or a
Oh, he would
fourth
have gone
round
earlier,
pick? I
definitely.
mean, we got 17 touchdowns in New Mexico in 2023 with over 1,100 yards, and then you look back at it, and the guy hasn't played. He's played one game, and funnily enough, for Arizona, that was against New Mexico, against his former team, right at the start of the season, where he dominated and got 4 touchdowns. And then after that, you go, right, okay, you can't play anymore. Right, brilliant. Sits the entire season out and then goes to the
Mm,
East West Shrine Bowl live on TV, never playing it down all season, and goes, okay, I'll be
tears it
the
up.
MVP of the game.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
literally the MVP of the game with 2 touchdowns. So that
Even
tells
all
me,
through
yeah,
through
this
all
kid's
that
good
stuff with Arizona, he showed up to practice every single day.
every single day without
He
fail. Yeah.
did. Well, it was one of the first guys and last guys. I know we always hear that all the time, but it was really true with this kid. And he came to work with a smile on his face, even though all that stuff was going on with the NCAA. So his character I think is definitely what this Adam Peters and company, Dan Quinn and company are looking for in a football player as well.
He's got a 3.2 GPA as well, so he's an intelligent kid when you look at it that way. So he's going to, you know what I mean? He's going to do very well. And that's a good thing to have as well, to have that college degree behind you as well. So yeah, I know he's a proper graduate. So well done him.
I think one
He's a
little
really
na-
good pick,
like
really good pick.
one knock on him is, and this could have been New Mexico's fault, is he doesn't catch the ball. So we really don't know. We know Kingsbury likes his running backs to receive the ball, and there's really no evidence of that yet. Not to say that he can't, but he just hasn't shown that yet.
Jesse, did you see this as the Austin Eckler replacement? But obviously, he will contribute this year. We know that. But do you see this as the replacement, if you like, for Austin Eckler going forward?
I think this is more of a Brian Robinson replacement
Okay.
after this season than an Austin Eckler replacement because we know Eckler just doesn't.
Pretend I didn't
I
hear that.
think the type of running back Ja'Cory is a different running back than Austin
Okay.
Eckler. I think Ja'Cory Merritt is a more of a Brian Robinson type thumper than a finesse you know, runner that Austin Eckler is. And Austin Eckler is a pass catcher, and we haven't seen any evidence of Ja'Cory in that aspect.
I saw a quote from Tom Brady. I think it was yesterday or the day before. He was doing something. I don't know where it was. I was watching. He said like to be a really good quarterback in this league now. He was saying that you need to adapt your game every season to the situation that you're in. Going into this season with a full season now for Jaden under his belt, do you think we're going to see anything different for him this coming season coming up? Because if you think about last season, he got us out of a lot of trouble with his legs. And a lot of times, and again, I remember our group chat popping off saying, I love it, but I'm really scared. Is now what we're doing. And, you know, do you think we've maybe seen that as a coaching staff saying, look, we don't want to take that away from his game because when he does it, he's great at it. But there are times last season when we were like, oh my God, please no. Is it now at times that we're going to kind of, we want him to be the player he was? He was great. Let's not be, we were one game away from the Super Bowl. None of us thought we'd ever do that. Scotty, do you think we're going to see a different Daniels coming into this new season? Or maybe tweaked is probably the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, a little bit, but not. I wouldn't think it would be that much different because I think obviously every team's got better. That's
Yeah.
what you've got to think about as well. It's a harder schedule going this year. So you're going to probably get less wins, which is totally understandable. But as long as you get to the playoffs, then the world's your oyster
How many
from
wins
there.
do you think would get you to the playoffs this coming season? If you had
10.
to, roughly 10, you reckon that will get us
Yeah,
there?
10.
Jesse, you
That's
agree?
where that.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
As far as Jaden being a different player, I don't think we should want him to be a different player.
Yeah, I'm not saying different. I'm just saying, obviously, with a year, everyone's got a year of film on him now. It's going to
That's
be
what I mean.
very, yeah. That's probably more than what I meant. You know, I just think,
Yeah.
are we going to see anything different from him in this
I
coming
mean,
season? You know, he's another year in the league. He'll generally be better. He's going to be fitter. He's going to be bigger. He's going to have learned so much from last season. We're talking about, you know, teams having film on him. He's going to have learned so much from his first
I mean,
season in the NFL.
maybe a little bit, but one thing that you can't do is you can't teach speed. You can't teach quickness, and Jaden has that. Um, Defenders are not going to get faster. They're going to be saying that they always been, and that's what Jaden did best is he was able to get out of situations quick. So you saw, what was it? The Detroit game where the guy grabbed his towel and was so freaking frustrated,
Yeah, it
he
was
freaking
Tampa
threw
Bay.
it.
Yeah.
That was
So
Tampa Bay.
I see more of the same. I think if anything, Jaden's just going to be better than he was last year. Better with I think he's going to be more comfortable with the playbook, and if you see any differences, I think it's going to be for the better.
Is he going
Yeah,
to
I
have to be
agree.
more adaptable, do you reckon, Scotty? Like you said,
Yeah, I agree.
schedule's going to
I
be
agree
harder.
with
We're going to come up against some amazing defenses. You know what I mean? When you look at our schedule, you think, oh, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad for that schedule because it means we had a successful football team last season. Is he
Yep.
going to have to be more adaptable to the way he plays now?
Yes, is the answer to that one. And also going back to Jaden there, I think you will see more. Not he's not going to turn into, prime bloody Peyton Manning. He's not going to be a pocket passer, but I think you'll get more pocket passing from him this year because the offensive line is tighter, because the offensive line gives him more time to open more routes, to have these burners like Jalen Lane on the field. So instead of having three people running routes, you will see five. So then it brings other players into the offense like Luke McCaffrey across the slot. So these are people who are going to have bigger seasons because of Jaden. But as Jesse said, you can't teach the speed because he's just gonna go to the outside, and when he feels that pressure, he can bail out and he can get away with it with his legs, and he makes plays. What also will be good is because we've now got another running back and we know we've got a force. I don't really want to see him doing goal line stands, trying to push yourself in from 3 or 4 yards out. Save your body on that, Jaden. Don't do that bit. Just leave that to hand the ball off there and let the others run. Let the
Oh,
big
just
boys
get
try
to
and
the
run it
one
in.
yard line and do that stupid tush push. That didn't get banned.
Well, exactly. There you go.
You know what I mean?
You know,
Absolutely ridiculous.
Andy, you mentioned earlier about we're playing better defenses. Well, our offense has gotten better too.
Yeah, agreed.
So
Agreed. Yeah, no.
I think that's going to play a pretty major role in it. We forget we added Debo Samuel, and
Yeah.
that guy's a freaking weapon. So I think Cliff is going to have a very fun time this year.
Cliff's sitting there
adjusting
like
his
that right now.
playbook.
Just
Yeah.
there, literally right. He can't wait for just to get them on
Yeah.
the field. Boys, we've got a few fan questions coming just before we get to that. I have a little bit of news about something about RFK. Ali Hunt, Ali, big shout out to you. There's a couple of questions here. Scotty, how many of the draft class he was saying? How many are day one starters? Do you think? And he said, "Missed you guys. Looking forward to the pods. Thanks very much, man."
I'm going to say three. I'm going to say Josh Conley Jr. will start. I say that Trey Amos will start and that Lane will start as punt returner. So not a starter as such,
Yeah, I'd
but
go
he's
with
going
that.
to
Special
start on
teams don't
specials.
Special
count.
teams
Come
doesn't
on.
count,
Come on,
Hartley. Come
okay.
on, man. You've been hanging around with these lot too long now, Scotty. Don't bring your little tech speak to this podcast, my friend.
Two then.
I
is the-
think
two then
special
is the
teams- I
correct
think he's
answer.
Very good on special teams.
Two.
Jesse, what do you think, mate?
I'll say 1.5. It depends on both sides. I mean, I do see Amos definitely starting.
1.5.
I'm gonna say 1.5 because
I get grilled for talking about a special team, and you've got half a person.
He's got half a geezer just man.
Listen, just listen to what I say before
Bloody hell, coach! You've only put half of me in. Where's the rest of me going in?
I think there could be a chance. There could be a chance where what we saw last year in a rotation type
Guy's
of
losing
thing
his shit.
with the offensive line. Are they going to? They still don't know what this offensive line is going to be. Where these players are going to play. Where Brandon Coleman's going to play. Where's Connolly Jr. going to play? Could it be one of those things until Connolly Jr. gets his feet under him? That could be a part-time type of thing.
Could be a swing kind of
in the
swing
season.
kind of thing. Never know. That's what they were. I
They
don't
were.
know.
We saw it. We saw it last season with split reps between.
Yeah.
You know,
They're not afraid to do that.
a left tackle.
Yeah.
But one
So
of
that's
big
that's
shout
where
out,
I'm
one of
coming
Scouse's
as
main
far as a
gripes was
part-time.
though, he's like, if you draft someone and you pick them in that fucking position, leave them in that position and get them. Like, how many times did Scouse say to us last
Yeah.
season, "Was square peg round hole, Scotty"? I think them days are slowly going. It's good to have. I don't want to say the fucking word position flex, but I get what Scouse is saying now. When you draft a certain player in a certain position, let's fucking make sure that come the first game of the season, he's actually in that fucking position.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Potentially that O line, you've got four all pro linemen, and then and a rookie.
Yeah.
Who
No,
are
you're right.
playing at that level. If everyone's fit, because Cosme, Biadish, and Tunsil are definitely Pro Bowlers for me. And then there's a question mark on Brandon Coleman where he goes, and then there's a question mark on Connolly where he goes. And then you're looking at people like Wiley, Algretti, Herbig. They're just good depth.
Having those at depth, that's
And then
pretty-
Trent Scott
pretty
as
good.
well, who
Pretty-
did okay in
yeah.
the playoffs.
Pretty good depth
Yeah.
pieces right there.
One of the other questions from Stephen Healer. Steve, how are you, brother? Scotty, you can have this one. Which 2024 rookie, ignoring JD5, will improve the team the most by having more of a role this year? Great
Oof.
question, by the way.
I want to say I want to say Luke McCaffrey, but I don't think it will be. I'm going to go Ben Sinnott here. I think Ben Sinnott will have a good year this year.
I like that shout.
I just think that he needed a bit of time to settle himself in.
Took a while, didn't it?
Most tight ends do.
Yeah, it takes a
tight
couple of
ends
years,
takes a
doesn't it?
long time to get under your belt.
It's so much to learn as a tight end. You've got to learn the blocking schemes, you've got to learn the passing schemes, you've got to learn the route tree, then you've got to think, right, what am I doing today? And we blocked a lot, we chipped a lot last year as well. And I think that doesn't help, that didn't help him at all. But I think he'll have a good breakout season this year.
Jesse, what about you, bro?
I'm gonna. This is gonna be a hopeful. Okay, I'm hoping because we need this player to do good if we're going to step our defensive game up, and that's Jean Baptiste. The seventh round pick from last year, defensive end. We know the coaching staff really likes him, so let's hope that he can take that step and be able to set an edge and rush the passer, and take that next step to help our defense.
Like you said earlier, Scotty, look at the Eagles game, like the edge, we just got crushed. And we did get crushed. Let's be honest. It was. Yeah, I completely agree. Boys, little bit of other news to talk about. I don't know if you heard it. Scotty, if you've got your ear to the ground out there, you're in the know now. We're going home, lads. We're going back to RFK. Jesse, don't shit on my parade just yet, please. Let me do this. 2030, lads. All being well, the Washington Commanders are going back to their spiritual home of RFK in Washington, D.C. Now, we visited the site quite a few times, Scotty, when we were over. We were there a couple of years ago, and we were chatting to so many people when we were there, and it was, one point, it was getting demolished. It was federal land. It was going to be this. It was going to be that. We get the news this week you and Jesse sit here recording this on a Wednesday night. We got the news yesterday, being Tuesday, that the Washington Commanders, come 2030, will be playing football at RFK. Jesse, you can wait a minute. Hartley, how good is that news? It's something that we've all spoke about for years, and doing what we do now, the content that we do, we've spoke to so many people that they were at the seat cushion game. They were, they watched Super Bowl teams in RFK. Jesse's told us stories about him growing up. We listened to Keith, we listened to John Tame. So all of our friends have told us stories that we've never got to experience, and we've lived vicariously through these guys. We've had Doc Walker on the show. We've spoke to him personally when we're out there. Everything you hear about that place is our spiritual home. How good is it now, Scott? This is probably the best news I've had as a fan since 1998 for the football team, that we are going to be back in Washington, D.C. What did you make of the news when you heard it on Tuesday? Were you just ecstatic? Because honestly, brother, I don't care. We might have to sell our house. We might have to sell a kidney, dude. We might have to hope you're the team president by then, just so we can get in. I mean, Hartley, but what great news. And I know we're going to get to the whole, there's objection, and there's been some stuff on social media today, being the Wednesday of recording this, of people against the move. But Scotty, my man, we're going home.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, it is the spiritual home. It's holy land. For anything to do with Washington football. I mean, Washington deserves a football team. Simple as that. It deserves to have it playing in its nation's capital. It's missed out on so much over the years. It's missed out on things that are coming ahead as well, World Cups. To have a World Cup in America and not have the capital city to have a team playing a game there is quite frankly outrageous. It would never happen in any
FedEx
other
supplied,
country.
didn't they? Full disclosure, we can say it now because he's not here, but Jason told us when we spent a little bit of time with Jason, and he said to us, FedEx put their name down to apply for a World Cup venue, and they were laughed out the building.
Yep.
Absolutely laughed out the building. They were like, have you seen the stadium? And Jason wasn't giving up any trade secrets. He's a big soccer fan himself, football fan. He was like, yeah, we tried, but like you said, Scotty, to imagine hosting the World Cup over here in Wembley,
in Madrid, or Wembley doesn't get it.
Like the Nou Camp not being used in Spain, or like it's the capital city, and there's not. That's where the World Cup final should be. The World Cup final, I don't know where. I should look it up. Actually, it's probably.
I think it's in Mexico.
Yeah, so it's going to be. What I mean? Come on now, it should be in Washington D.C. But I'm with you, brother. I think like you look at everyone we've spoke to when we were there last September. I remember sitting in the bar talking to Tim Meek about it, and he was like, "Look, it would be great." And everyone we spoke to while we were in the bars in D.C. or when we were just shooting the shit in the Airbnb, or just everyone we spoke to. saying we've got to get back to RFK. And I've been saying it for
Absolutely.
years. I'm like, look, you've got the land there, and I get it. It's been
The,
turmoil, but just to hear the news on Tuesday that we're going back,
the,
and
the
I know
one
there's
thing I
going to
will
be red
say,
tape.
the one thing I will say on it is I've got to tip my hat to Josh Harris. This man
Oh
gets
my dude.
shit done. He gets shit done. That's what he's about.
And the
I mean, I
amount
know
of
he's a
money he's put up
billionaire. Oh,
himself, by
look,
the
I
way.
know he's a billionaire. I know the team are there, but think about where we've gone in two
He's done more
years.
in a year than he's done more in a year and a bit than Dan Snyder's ever done.
Correct. And that would this deal wouldn't
Ever
even be
done.
on the table. It
Nah,
wouldn't
he
even be
Dan
on the
Snyder was
table.
hated amongst. I mean, I remember chatting to people when I was out there. I remember Maurice telling us, he has some friends involved in in the government side of it, and he was like, Dan Snyder's hated within government in Washington, absolutely detested. They wouldn't even get around a table with him. Josh Harris has been here for a minimal amount of time, and we've already had an announcement that we're going back to our spiritual home. We've gone
Exactly.
one game away from a Super Bowl. And you were fan of the year, Scott. I mean, you can't want for anymore. I mean, guy's an absolute god. Jesse, I know there's been some trepidation stateside, so that's why I waited to come to you because you are out there. I saw Michael, our good friend Michael, tweeted some stuff out today. I know there was a few meetings that went on today discussed at local forums out in DC. There's been as much as the hoorah, and obviously we're all happy. We're Washington Commanders fans, and everyone's happy that we're going to go back to our spiritual home. The ticketing stuff, which we'll get to in a minute. But Jesse, just talk us through what it is, what the vibe is out there in Washington. Obviously, it's easy for me and Scott to sit here. We're a million miles
Yeah.
away, but everything I'm hearing and reading, there is a lot of people saying we don't actually want a football stadium. So, what is the latest out there?
This happens everywhere, man. It's no matter where the stadium's going to go, it's there's going to be people that's going to poo-poo it and not want it there. There's a lot more non-football fans than football fans in this world, and that's just a fact of the matter. Even though it doesn't seem so. I mean, but the fact is that there's still some work to do on this deal, and not all politicians are going to. There's going to be a lot of grandstanding, because they want to stay in the seats that they're in right now. But I think especially with what Roger Goodell really behind this, that they can figure out a way to push this through. The problem is the $1 billion in tax money that's going to go towards this project, whether it's for the actual scaled up or the building itself, or just even roadways. But it's going to it's go. I still think it's 50-50 right now.
Wow,
And,
really?
and
What,
it
whether it happens
has.
at all?
What's that?
Whether it actually happens?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be in a battle with this next couple
But
month or
surely
so.
the amount of jobs it's going to create, like Josh Harris was saying, he said, we're not here just to build a football stadium. We're here to build housing. We're here to, we're going to everything, the infrastructure, like Jesse, me and you were saying before we recorded. We've been out to the RFK site. Not the greatest area in the world. No disrespect to anyone that
No,
might be
it's
listening.
not.
Says it's not the greatest. And look, we have plenty of them over in London. Wembley Stadium, where Wembley Stadium is a shithole. By the way, absolute shitbox. I deliver there most days. It's a dump. So I'm not just poo-pooing on this because it's America. But you think like the infrastructure it's going to be put in. So that first of all, the jobs that's going to create, the money eventually that's going to bring in. It's Washington DC, so not that everyone goes there. It's probably one of the biggest tourist spots in the world. But once this is there, like Scott said, World Cups, Olympics, some of the biggest concerts you'll probably ever see in the world.
WrestleManias.
WrestleMania will go there. I know we all take the piss out of me for liking
The
wrestling.
the
The
draft.
money, the draft. There's what, 5 things that we've just named. Plus all the jobs that it's going to bring to the area, all the infrastructure that it's not like Josh Harris is going, right, we're putting everything in here. All I care about is the football stadium. No, no, no. He wants to, he's very much about the community, the people there. So I think once his people get out and get to speak to, because all we're hearing at the minute is all these so-called politicians and these local support groups going around, we don't want it, we don't want it. Well, once you hear and let Josh Harris's people, and even Josh himself, I can guarantee you will be going to some of these people, some of these meetings and saying, look, we're creating jobs. We're going to build this. We're going to build factories over here. So we're going to need this. He's not just going in there going, RFK, that's it. That's all I care about. I just want RFK. No, no, no. He is going to build everything around that. It's going to benefit that area itself. It's going to benefit Washington in the long term. Yeah, you're going to have to pay out a little bit, and there's going to be a little bit of a lull. Look at the stadiums over here, Scott. That's been, and it pains me to say it. Look like Arsenal and Tottenham, things like that. You don't make money straight away. But if you look at the great event, the boxing events that just recently happened at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this past week, like you've mentioned WrestleMania, Olympic, within, say for argument, that it does open in 2030. By 2035, could you imagine the event, not taking football out of it, because we're going to play there from September to January, all the other events and God knows what else is going to go on in that stadium, the money that it's going to provide for local hotels, you've got restaurants, you've got bars, you've got everything, the money that's going to be coming into that part alone of town and Washington itself is going to be incredible. It's only going to benefit everyone. And I get it. I just don't see it. There probably is a downside. I'm sitting there as a Washington fan.
There's lots of downsides.
There is downsides. I get it, but surely
see the arguments against it. It goes.
But they must outweigh the good. Must outweigh the bad, Jesse. Surely
it can, because there's data on other stadiums in areas like this that it doesn't work out. It's looks like roses on paper, but it kind of breaks even in the long run. The problem and what the people that don't want it. And I'm not trying to make an argument for them. I'm just giving you reasons why
I got it.
They wouldn't want it. Mendelson, I think he's one of the chairs for the council. He's got major reservations on it because of you may get a Super Bowl, but you're only going to get one. You can't come in thinking that there's going to have multiple Super Bowls year after year. You may get 3 WrestleManias in the next 15 years. You're going to get one draft in the next 30 years, probably. What they're seeing is like some of the benefits don't necessarily outweigh the negative effects that it could have. Jobs. Yeah, you're going to provide jobs. You absolutely are, and it will. But some of those jobs are just going to be for the construction of it. What about afterwards? Because there's going to be more jobs created for the construction
all the bars
of the
that
complex.
are built, everything that's going to be built around there is going to be astronomical. That whole area
is going to be expensive. And then what about and other things that they're saying is what about the upkeep it's going to have in the for the infrastructure in the next 15 years? Who's going to pay for that?
What do they want to see? If it wasn't a football there, if it wasn't a stadium there, what do the people want to see there?
That's the other thing you want. You got that cross to bear. Like we've seen it. It's asbestos riddled building. You're going to have to have specialists in to get rid of that. So it's going to cost you money irrespective of what you do. It won't be anywhere near the 850 million or $1 billion or whatever the figure is that the city council is going to have to put out.
1.2 billion.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another thing too that like really pissed the council off is all this planning. They weren't involved whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably the number one thing is for the fiscal year 2025, and my numbers could be off, but they have to cut 400 million or it could be 4 billion out of the budget. So that means people are losing their jobs for the 2025 fiscal year. And they're talking about putting up $1 billion for the 2026
and the funny
fiscal year.
The other thing as well is it's 600.
Yeah, it's not sitting right with people. The council and the people that live around that area right now. So it's an uphill battle right now for me, and it's going to be. I think Josh Harris is going to have to come up with more money for this to happen. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's you're right, Jesse. It's 400 this year that she's got to find, and then 600 the following financial year. And the problem you've got is the budget is already 7 weeks late.
Yeah,
and that's what they're after.
Freaking issue right now.
And then you're saying, well, hang on, where are you finding another payment of 400 million? You're cutting it with one hand and you're giving it away with the other. That's exactly what they're saying.
Exactly.
And people obviously are
going
to lose their jobs.
Of it, because the people want also not only future, but what they want to know the now, and the now is not looking too fucking good. And so that's leaving a sour taste in their mouth. It's I'm not very good at explaining all this. I'm not a very political person, but I will tell you, people are very excited. I'm excited. I want this thing back at RFK. With all my heart, I will cry the day that the ribbon is cut. But I can't get my hopes up too much yet because it's not a done deal.
One other thing that we want to talk about just before we get out of here, a lot of people, Scotty, this might affect us. We've got a season ticket. Jesse, so you're a season ticket holder. Everyone and his wife.
I did that survey. Good God.
So did I.
I did the survey. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Everyone and his wife was on socials in the I saw some great tweets from LJ as well about the pricing of tickets, saying the regular fans, Jesse, Scott, are going to be outpriced of seeing the Commanders at RFK should it happen. Now, Jesse, I'll come to you again.
For season tickets, not for games.
Yeah.
Let's get that right.
Is this just hoopla and hearsay right now? Well, of course it is, because we're not even sure, like you said, Jesse, it might be 50-50 whether the stadium gets made. But say for argument's sake, it does. What do you make of all the talk of I'm going to be out? Keith put a tweet up or a Facebook post the other day. He was saying, look, this might be me done now with season tickets. He's genuinely, he might not be able to afford it. His kids are growing up, etc. And Scotty, me and you, we share a season ticket. This is our going into our second season, third season, maybe it's third season. Yeah. Well, so me and Scotty are going into our third season of sharing it, and we live over here and we give it to people, and we're happy to do it. But if they said to us, right, boys, your monthly payments are going to be $280, me and Hardy would be like, oh my fucking God, I think our wives might kill us.
Mine's $375.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking here is if you look at the PSL deal as it is, and you look at the season tickets on top of that, if Harris is right with what he's saying, there may be areas within the middle bowl which would be similar to what they have at Buffalo, or is predicted to go at Buffalo's new Highmark Stadium. And then also at other stadiums that we've seen, New Orleans do the same thing. You have cheaper tickets almost in the lower bowl, in and around the middle areas, but not around, obviously, the premium sideline to sideline seats or behind where players sit. The rest of it is kind of lower end tickets. If we're going off them figures, you're looking at about $350 a month for a season ticket and PSL license.
And like Jesse said earlier, Scott, the way the world's going now, who's going to really, realistically, like a lot of people are like, oh, the rich can afford it, but your average day.
Some of the PSLs are outrageous. Like, I mean, the 250 grand. I'm like,
they're not that much. I think the highest PSL is 16 grand, and that's in.
I saw some quoted yesterday, way higher.
No, there was some in the 49ers are paying 80 grand.
That's probably for box seats, like the corporate box seats.
I don't know.
I think the PSL probably be.
Do we think the average fan's going to be priced out? Is the question.
Potentially.
No, because the fact of the matter is this: every new stadium has these, man. Let's be real here. Let's be honest here, and we, as Washington fans, have had the cheapest tickets in the NFL for 20 some odd years going. We're some of the lowest price points.
I paid $14 when I went on Thanksgiving to see us against the Giants.
I remember the tickets against the Detroit Lions were $8.
And how do you think Josh Harris just has $2.7 billion just laying around in his fucking pocket?
Like, well, he will do, because let's be honest, his net worth's increased by 4.2.
Okay, net worth doesn't like,
it's not liquid.
It's not
liquid. I get that. I get that.
You know what I mean? I'm like, go to Atlanta, go to the SoFi Stadium, go to Allegiant Stadium.
All on PSLs.
Things cost money. Price of living has gone up. Price of materials have gone up. You wouldn't either bitch and moan about how bad FedEx Field is or get a new stadium.
Yeah, I get it.
And this team has no choice but to get a new stadium.
Get a new stadium, yeah. There was talk at one time of maybe developing. I keep calling it FedEx, sorry, but yeah, there was talk of developing.
And the PSL is a one-time fee.
Yeah,
a one-time fee. It's not a yearly thing. Some people think it's a yearly thing, but
he said he can do it over 5 years, Jesse. So if it is $5 grand, $1,000 a year, is it really a lot? I know. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I get that for the average person, it is. But we also have to remember, as you said, cost of living and wage increases and stuff like that. So it is tough. It's tough economically for for everyone at the minute.
Worldwide, yeah, especially. But Jesse, you know what we will do if it all goes a bit belly up? I'll just say I know Scott Hartley.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going
our
to say,
end.
don't. I want to be like, don't
That's
make
our
me send
foot
him
in
back
the
there.
door.
I'll be like, you make this stadium or he's coming back. Do you know what I had visions of, Jesse? And for those that have listened to this podcast, and this went viral last year, Scotty having a poo, I had visions of his pit getting done and someone like this, Scott,
Knocking on the stall.
Scott, and I just hear him, I'm not through. The commander's pick is going to be announced by some random because the fan of the year is having a poo.
One thing that did go viral was it was a stupid picture of me like the first
tongue
night.
out?
I don't. Yeah,
What
I don't
were
know
you
why I
doing?
did that with my tongue. I've
What
no
were you
idea.
doing?
Don't know why I did that. Right?
That's
so
going to
stuck my
haunt
tongue
you for the
out.
rest of your life.
Yes, it is because actually inside the inner circle, I had two different separate fans come up to me and say, "Oh, can I have a picture with you? Because I've got to get a picture with the tongue." And apparently went round on it was hashtag the tongue.
Is that what your wife's calling you now? Okay, that's a completely different podcast. Anyway,
That's the bunker after dark.
Yeah, that's the bunker when we've stopped recording. No, that's live bunker when we're in DC. Boys, it's been great to be back talking some Washington football. Jesse, really good to see you, brother. Hopefully we're going to be back. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Scouse will be with us. If not, I'm sure the international superstar there will stand in for him again. Scousey, we're sending you all our love, brother. Thinking of you, mate. Hope all is well. Just reach out if you need us, pal. Jesse, great to see you, my man. I'm glad everything is well over in the States. I'll obviously speak to you nearly every day. Mr. Hartley, sir. Thank you so very much for gracing us with your presence. Lord Hartley. Honestly, I'm in London tomorrow. I'm gonna go and see the big head fucker, and I'm gonna say to him, "Oi, there's a geezer up there." Carlisle got relegated, by the way.
I know. Yeah, cheers for that.
You didn't stop that happening, did you?
No.
Scotty, so proud of you, mate. Really proud of what you've done at the weekend. Even if you did go viral for the wrong reasons, it was incredible to see you out there representing us for the UK. It's so great to see you on stage doing your draft pick, mate. Couldn't be proud of you, but thanks for coming on the bunker, mate.
Always. Thank you for having me.
No worries. You can check us out on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Commander Bunker. You can go onto YouTube, type in The Bunker Podcast, scroll down past all the Adolf Hitler stuff. We're not that podcast. We're not that bunker. You will find us. You will see our logo there. Click, like, subscribe. Myself, Jesse, and hopefully Scouse will be back next week. If not, Lord Hartley will be joining us from his manor. But till next time, everybody, I've been your host, Andy Burrows. Bunker down and stay safe.